but I have a military background. And a lot of, especially members of Quaker communities may find this in contrast to the norms of the faith. The founder, the known figure George Fox, and the missus and some friends came together in the 1600s in England, and they formed the community, and it spread, and its philosophy and its practices spread across the Atlantic. And although it's not a very popular religion, and it's indeed in many ways it's distracted and confused and growing a little bit long in the hair, it's still a wonderful faith community, and I'm still honored to call myself Quaker. Just a little history note, and I think it's maybe two history notes important. When George Fox started the Quaker faith, there was a requirement in England at that time, and the requirement was that if a lesser man met a better man, that is to say larger slave holdings or other calculations of wealth, that if the lesser met the better, then the lesser was obliged to do something. It was called a doff. They were obliged to do something like this. And mind you, this is codified in law. They had to take their hat, remove it, make a very grand gesture and a deep bow. Oh boy, that hurts. And then carry on. George Fox said no. George Fox said, I'm looking at another human being equal to me as far as our creation is concerned. Both created human beings. It is only our Father Yahweh that deserves the honor, and therefore my conscience allows me not to continue. They beat him like a drum numerous times. And that history sometimes tends to repeat itself, especially when would-be tyrannical, demagogic dictators are at the helm. The second point I'd like to make is related to the first. An unusual election night happened last week, and it happened. It's pretty intentional by design. Oftentimes, just as a separate bar issue, when, let's say, a person did something bad and they're arrested and taken into custody and then interrogated, oftentimes that interrogation is not a quick matter. As a matter of fact, it's very open-ended. There are some people in various prisons here and abroad that, have been interrogated for quite a while. Yeah, quite a while. And the point to that is to break a person's will. It's to get them to quit. It's to get them to, stop resisting. And indeed agree to whatever is being presented to them. It is my hope that we recover from our interrogation of Election Day, and that we become, as clear-minded as we are able, and we take thoughtful steps. For instance, it is my considered opinion that the state of Ohio and Wisconsin, but more Ohio, needs to be protected. That there may well have been a large number of, let's say, foreign intruders invited by certain Americans to assist casting ballots, repressing ballots, clearing out ballots. And there may be evidence of this in other states as well. Basically, we need a national recount is what is absolutely necessary, an outside recount. But barring that, the Electoral College can still save us. It can happen. It was designed that way. The Electoral College is a part of our Constitution, and it is the measure of a presidential election's legitimacy. Last bit. I'm going to share this only because of what some might say is a conflict with my stated Quaker faith and my personal decision to not hold true to the requirement of pacifism. I love the idea of pacifism. I see the benefit of measured responses and thoughtful periods, preventing escalations and bad things from happening. I'm a fan, but it is my personal experience. Well, let me share with you my personal experience. And mind you, I have not said this. The only person I've said this to is my son. And none of my two previous wives or any other family members. This is something I kept, where most people keep their bad stuff inside. Was a soldier assigned to the Panama Canal Zone back in the 70s. I was there from 76 to 78 or 79, I forget. I can't say I was a prisoner of war because there was no war. There was no declared war. But I was taken prisoner by some that seemed to object to the American presence in their land. And I can't say it for sure because my Spanish skills weren't that good, and after a while I couldn't really understand anything. But I do understand the mob lynching mentality, having lived it. The ordeal went on for an unknown amount of time. I do not know. My stuff was taken and victimized in various ways. My right testicle was destroyed and my left damaged. Some infection from that injury seeped into my spinal area and created other issues that I've pretty much fallen to in the past few years. I guess it won't be too long before I'm in a wheelchair, but today I'm on my feet. I mention that just to say that I know lynch party mentality, and regardless of my religious faith and my spiritual beliefs, I promise to myself that should it ever come to pass that I witness such an occurrence, there would be shots fired, and that's that. One last note, as far as the lynching lifestyle is concerned, the Republican Party, the traitorous criminal Republican Party, headed up by the Kentucky Senator Turtlehead Mitch McConnell seems to be eagerly anticipating a return to such a time during their greatness, a time when human beings were sold and traded and treated very badly and treated not like the one-of-a-kind individual human beings that we are. It's a deficit of ours that our witnessing of humanity ends at certain cues, at a skin color or an accent or whatever. But that time that we had passed as a nation, we're not going back to ever again. It is not going to happen. If this issue is not solved via the ballot and public will, then it will be settled as the original Civil War was. I consider myself a U.S. service man. I have general orders that I am still bound by conscience, and one of those is love, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, guarding everything within the confines of my post, and etc. It was nice talking to you. I'm sorry if this was not as clear as a Keith Olbermann video, which is, of course, the standard, the great Keith Olbermann. Know that I am praying for you all. My love is with you. My faith is in our Savior, brother, to assist when necessary, and prayerfully, lovingly, we will fix this technical issue in a peaceful, loving way. Watch this space.